Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to start a new tutorial series for a new program called Adobe Character Animator. As you can see, this looks a little bit different, or a lot different than Anime Studio Pro or Moho Pro. I'm still going to make tutorials for that, but this is a program that I found because I wanted to do some live streaming with my own character. Wanted to do some Twitch streaming, maybe, or something like that, and maybe do some live Q&As on YouTube with it. So I didn't even know I had this program, but it's been out for a few years, and you're gonna need some Adobe programs, and After Effects is one of them, and it comes with Adobe Character Animator. I think maybe you can get that by itself also. And then you'll need Photoshop or Illustrator so you can create your own artwork, and they just work together. And it's also really good for people who don't know how to draw but want to do some animation. This program is going to let you use pictures and other things like that. But I think this is going to be a really helpful tool in the future for anybody who wants to do some quick animation. And I just wanted to do something other than just Anime Studio tutorials. So as you can see in my top right window, there is a video capture of my face performance, and actually it will capture your eyebrow movement and your eyes, but I just have set up my character so that when I push left or right with my arrow keys, my character will look in the direction that I want it to, and that's just because I want to have very precise movements with my character. And the same with the eyebrows, I've made some controls, so if I hit a certain button or a keyboard, I have Q, W, and E for different facial expressions or eyebrow expressions, so angry, surprised, or puzzled. I can just hit those automatically, and just it's a little bit easier to animate. But if you get Adobe Character Animator and you're greeted with the home screen, and they have all these puppets that you can try out, and it's really cool. So I'm just going to click on this anime character just so you can see some of the things that you can do with it. So this character was made in Photoshop. It's not even a vector image. It's painted, digitally painted in Photoshop, but it has the same thing. If I move left to right, it moves the head. If I blink, it's blinking, and it follows my eyes if I look left or right, or up or down, or whatever. It's really neat. And then the other characters that they have, you can make entire bodies. This character, Tull, is really neat because Adobe has made some gestures that you can do. I don't know which all the buttons are, but let me see real quick. So you have hand in Adobe or Anime Studio, you call it a it's not a switch layer. I'm getting confused because I'm using this now too. It's called swap sets in Adobe Character Animator, but in an Anime Studio we have different hands, then even different gestures, which we would call replays, or I mean actions in Anime Studio, but they're called replays in this program. So if I hit A, he blinks and has a little lines come out. He's got a worried look, crying. And I believe all of these, and the arms are rigged, so I can just grab them with my mouse and just start posing the character. So it's pretty cool. And obviously, I'll get back to neutral. I don't know which one it is. So there's back to neutral. So you can see he's lip syncing automatically, which is a huge help because it's going to save you tons of time. And he's got some physics in his hair and all kinds of stuff, so it's really cool. But I'm going to show you how to make a very basic face from start to finish, just the face, so you can actually see. I was pretty excited when I did this because it only takes a couple minutes, or 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to go back over to Illustrator, and here's my character that I recreated in Illustrator, and it's pretty complex. It looks a little weird because the eyebrows and the blinks are all kind of overlapping each other. It's just like a switch layer in Anime Studio, like I said, but in my artwork I have to put them all together in groups. But But we're going to start off by creating a new document. And if you've never used Illustrator or Photoshop, the procedure is pretty much the same. I'm just going to do 1000 by 1000 pixels. I just typed that in right here on the width and height to create a new document, a blank document. And we're just going to start off by creating a face. So as with Anime Studio or Moho, we have drawing tools, and this is the ellipse tool or the circle tool, and we have a fill and a stroke. Same exact thing as Anime Studio. I'll double click the fill color. I'm going to choose a skin tone, hit OK. I'll draw a circle, and I'm going to hit V, which is the direct selection tool, and I'll go ahead and put that right in the center. I think it's already in the center. Make the stroke a little thicker, about 3 pixels thick. And then under Window, I'm going to make sure I can see my layers, so I'll open that up. I'll double click this and I'm going to name it Head, and you have to make sure that your naming conventions are correct for this to work. You can relink and do some other stuff in the program, but it's better just to name them correctly in the beginning. So I'm just going to call it Head. And I'm going to go ahead and save this. Save as. And I'll just call it My First Puppet Face. And save that to the desktop. So right now all we have is the circle for the face. We'll go back to Character Animator. And let me delete some of these dudes. Get rid of all that. Let's go ahead and do a new project. We'll just start completely from the beginning, and we'll call it My First Puppet. And I'm going to replace that. Oh, I already did that. We'll just name that My First Puppet 2. So we have a brand new scene, exactly what you'd see your first time. So nothing's in there yet. We'll go to File, Import, and we'll select that AI file, the Illustrator file, which is just a circle right now, named Head, and import that. And then here's in this project panel, I'm just going to grab My First Puppet and drag it into the workspace, and that's going to create a new scene. So already, by just naming it Head, you can see when I move my head left and right, it's actually moving that circle too, because it's recognizing it as the head. So let's go ahead and create some more stuff. I'm going to select the ellipse tool. I'm back in Illustrator now. I'm going to double click on the fill, choose white, and then we'll draw an eyeball like that. And let's go ahead and open up our layers so we can see everything. So let's go ahead and rename a couple of these layers. So the head layer, or the face, we'll just name it Face. And that one's not particularly important because we're not going to, isolate it. So you can name that whatever you want, but then the eyeball you need to name correctly. And this is going to be the right eyeball. So it's the right eyeball for the face. Right eyeball. Okay, then I'll use the ellipse tool again. Actually, I'm going to hit V and click on the canvas just so nothing's selected. Then I'll use the circle tool or the ellipse tool again. This time we're going to use black for the fill, and you can see these purple lines that keep popping up in Illustrator. Those are just guidelines, so I know I can put it right in the center. Hold Shift and Option and drag out, and that way I just get a pupil right in the center where I need it to be. I'll rename this right pupil. And then we're going to do one more piece of artwork. We'll use the pen tool actually, so I'll hit P. And I'm just going to draw a line. I'll click on the edge of the eyeball, go above the pupil a little bit, and then go back to the other edge, just so I can make a line. And I don't want it to have a fill, so I'll click on the fill and click None. So now we just have a line. Now I'm going to do hit Shift C. And this tool is called the Anchor Point tool. And if I zoom in and click on this point, I can drag out, they're called Bezier handles. I don't know, they're just a way to control the curve of a line. It's really what they are. So I'll hit A, and this is to select specific points. So I'm going to go ahead and move this down a little bit. I want the blink to be right in the center of the eye, so I'll grab the curve, put it kind of over the pupil a little bit, and then I'll rename this right blink. Okay, so now we have our parts. Now let's go into Character Animator and look and see what's happening. Oh, gotta save. Command S. Save it. So it's going to update and put the eyeball into our artwork. And there's our eye. And when I blink, something's not right. It's blinking, but everything else is disappearing. That's because we haven't grouped our eyeball correctly. So let's go back to Illustrator. And I'm going to hold Command down. I don't know. I think it's Option on Windows. But you see in my Layers palette, if I click on whatever layer is active and selected, there's two circles in the Layers palette that I can select. So if I hold Command down, I can select the right blink, right pupil, and right eyeball. Then I can do a Command G, which is group. So now they're all grouped together, and we'll call this right eye. And make sure you name that correctly, right eye. So now all those parts are in that group. And then we have the face. And then I'll do a Command S to resave it. Let's go back into Character Animator and have it update. Now you can see the face is not disappearing, and when I blink, the eyeball blinks as well. But now let's get the pupil moving a little bit. So Character Animator needs to have, if you have a layer that you want it to move independently from other layers and not affect any other layers, you have to put a plus sign in front of it. So for the right pupil, I'll double click that, and I'm just going to put a plus sign right in front of it. So Shift plus, so it's called right pupil, hit OK, and then save that, Command S. Let's go back into Character Animator, and now you can see when I look left or right, it's actually following my eye movement, but it's got something called snap on, so it's moving and sticking into a place. So I'm gonna go over here in the record mode. You can see under eye gaze, this controls your eyeball movement. Right now we have camera input, and I'm gonna uncheck snap, and then I'll hit reset pose or set pose and look dead at the camera. Click that, and now when I move, it's a lot more natural. If I look up or down, or to left and right and whatnot. And also, like my character, I can select keyboard input instead and turn off camera. So now when I hit left, right, up, down, or a combination of them, I can control my eyeball movement with my keyboard. So we have a working eye. And since we have a working eye for the right side, all we have to do is copy it to do the left. So I'm going to hold Option down and click on it and drag it up so it has a little plus sign, and it's going to make a complete copy with everything in it. And all we're going to do is rename. So I'll double click this, retype it, call it left eye, open up the pieces inside and rename it left blink. Be sure to leave the plus on there and put left pupil, and rename this left eyeball. So it's important that you have left pupil, left blink, and left eyeball named correctly for everything to work in Character Animator. Let's go ahead and select that. I'll use the selection tool, and I'm gonna use my mouse wheel to zoom out and grab that, move this over to the left like that. I'm going to hold down command so I select both eyeballs so they're both selected, and then I can tell when it's centered because Illustrator uses those guides, those purple little lines again, and now it's centered correctly. So again, we have the head as our upper layer, we have left eye, and inside its parts, right eye inside are the same parts, and save that. Go into Character Animator. Now we have two eyes, And I can look all around. Let's turn back on camera input so it's using the web camera. And now it's using my eyes to figure out when to blink and where to look, which is pretty cool already. Now, let's go ahead and make some eyebrows really fast. Click on the canvas so nothing's selected. I'll use the ellipse tool again, just because it's simple. I'll select black for my fill. I'll draw an eyebrow. And we'll call this right eyebrow. And we're going to put a plus in front of it, because we know we want it to move by itself or separately, independently. Plus right eyebrow. And I'll hit V. I'll move it till I see that purple line intersect with the pupil, so it's lined up correctly. So I have right eyebrow. I'll hold down Option, left click and drag it upwards until I see the plus sign. Double click it, rename it left eyebrow. And I have the selection tool still, so I'll just drag it over here. Line that up. Save it, Command S. Or you can go to File and Save As, or Save. And go to Character Animator. Now I got some eyebrows, and you can see when I raise my eyebrows, I bring them down, it has those eyebrows ready to go. And you actually can control the strength of your eyebrows or any other property of your face. So let me go under Face. So we have eyebrow strength. So if I turn that up really high, or you can see that it goes farther into the eyeballs, up and down. Let's see, the raised eyebrow tilt. So right now when I raise my eyebrows up, they kind of tilt upward from the center. But if I crank that up, you can see it can bring way really high. So when I do that now, that's too high. Let's go back to 80 something. That's still really high. But you can play with it as you're doing it. So yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so now we got that. Let's go ahead and throw some other stuff on here real quick. Let's just add some more detail really fast. I'll add some ears. Now, the eyeball and the eyebrows are really important how you name them. These other parts are going to be a little less important. We're just going to put them together with the face. So I'm going to draw an ear. Call this right ear. I'll hit I and then just click on the face so I get that same color. And I'm going to drag it underneath the face. And then the selection tool and drag this over a little bit. So we have the right ear. I'll go ahead and hold Option down, copy that. Rename this left ear. Oops. Drag that over to this side. And then I'm going to do some hair. I'll grab the circle tool again. And this time I'll double click on the fill, use black. And I'm just going to draw a big circle that's going to go behind the head. Let's move this into place. Let's drop it underneath everything. And I'll just keep using the circle tool or the ellipse tool. And I'm just going to give them some curls. Some random. And it's making lots of layers right now, but we're going to go ahead and combine these here in just a second. Oops, I didn't want to do that. So we got all these curls. Let's say we want to combine this into one shape. So I'll hit V so I can select. I'm going to drag and grab everything that this selection touches, but it's going to select the face face layer too, and I don't want that. I just want everything that's black for the hair. So I'll hold Shift down and click on the face and it deselects it. So now all we have selected are the black shapes. I'm going to go to Window and go to Pathfinder. And Pathfinder just lets you combine shapes or subtract shapes. So if I hit Combine, you can see all of those circles just became one big shape. So I'll rename this hair and drag it to the bottom. And the face, the ears, and the hair are all part of the same group, face group. So let's go ahead and do the same thing we did for the eyes. I'll hold Command down. Hair is already selected. I'll go ahead and click on the right ear, left ear, and face, and do a Command G. That groups them all together, and then we'll just rename that face again. Just keeping our layers organized. And I'll Command S to save that. And let's use that Pathfinder one more time. I'll draw a real simple nose. I'll draw a circle. And Option. You'll notice I use the duplicate a lot when I'm doing artwork on here. Just holding Option down and dragging creates a copy. Same as with layers as with shapes in your window. So I'm going to do that. I'll select both of those. And again, I'm going to use the Pathfinder. Again, it's to combine shapes or subtract shapes. And this time we're going to use subtract. So now it gets this nice little crescent moon shape. And I'm going to double click the fill. We'll make it a little darker color. And let's take the stroke off. So I'll select the stroke and select none. So now we've got a nose. So we'll just go ahead and call that nose. And then all we're really missing now are the mouths. And the mouths are going to take a long time to make, because what we want to do is in Character Animator, if we go into the rig, which is where our character is, let's move the point of origin down here real quick. So the point of origin is where the head tilts. So if I pull this down and go back into record, it's rotating from that point that I just made. Let's move it somewhere weird to see it in action better. We'll move it by the ear. Now I'll go to record. It's still it looked like it's rotating right here still. I thought it'd rotate from here. I don't know, man. I'm still learning this too. I'll leave it there for now. But the mouths, so over here is a representation of our puppet, and it has tags right now. And we need to make some mouths. And where's the list of them? Maybe I need to make a mouth group. But what I'm going to do is, I've already made my mouths for my character. And you can see here, if I open up my head layer, here's all my mouths that I've made. I'll hide some of them real quick and just click on them one at a time. So there's the ah and the consonants, which is for Character Animator D and S and all these other ones. So I've got all of these in this mouth group, and they're all grouped together in one layer, just like we did our head and our eyes. So I'm just going to go ahead and select my mouths that I've already made. So I hit Command C, so I'm going to copy those. And if you guys want to see me make a whole set of mouths, just let me know in the comments, and I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to keep making tutorials for this program, but let me know if you what you want to see later on. So, and then the Command V to paste. So here's my mouths, and you can see they're all in one group. Go ahead and make this a little bigger. This mouth isn't made for a character facing forward, but that's okay. It'll work. And we'll do a Command S to save. And it looks really crazy, but let's go back into the Character Animator. And there they've shown up here. Let's go to record. And now you can see that my character's talking too, and doing lip syncing as I'm talking. So, I don't know, it's probably longer than 10 minutes, but because I ramble. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's really fun. I'm still learning it, but it's gonna be pretty awesome, I think, for any of you that are interested in any other programs for animating. So yeah, leave a like if you like the video. If you want to see more, let me know what you want to see in the description below. And check out OK Samurai. He's the official dude making tutorials for Adobe for this program. There's not a whole lot of other people doing it, but it's a really cool program, and I'm really excited about it. So that's it, and I will see you next time.